She reads the body like a weathered map, knows where the fault lines they can crack. Hands steady, eyes on fire, delivers light, then climbs still higher. By daylight she is science and bone, by night she listens to the unknown. She doesn't borrow truth from borrowed name. She watches planets burn their own arcane flame. She is the physician of stars, with her feet in the water and her soul on Mars. Counting cycles, breaking scars, midwife for worlds, wherever you are. She doesn't follow the clock or the crowd. She listens to the sky and she listens out loud. Yeah. Braided hair catching solar wind, ice blue eyes that see through skin. She doesn't ask permission to know, she lets the real constellation show. 13 pathways, one long arc. She walks the edge between dark and spark. She's not afraid of the void or flame. She knows rebirth never comes the same. She is the physician of stars. She knows rebirth never comes the same. She is the physician of stars, with blood and myth in perfect accord, holding heaven inside her scars, writing medicine straight into the cord. She doesn't pray to the older skies, she reads the truth written in the sky. She loves the ocean and the thrill of speed, wind in her hair, no need to plead. Fire in the lungs, lightning in hips, truth on her tongue, no practice lips. She cannot lie, she cannot fold. She was born remembering what others forgot to be told. She is the physician of stars, delivering futures with steady hands, breaking cages, bending bars, teaching time how to understand. She doesn't dim, she doesn't wait, she opens gates that others call fate. And when the sky forgets its name, she'll still be here doing the same, watching cycles rise and fall, midwife to the cosmos, mother to it all.
Hello, beautiful souls. Let me know if you can hear me. This is Dr. Dani. Welcome to the Real Sky. Happy Friday. It's Venus's day, and I'm about to give one of my favorite presentations on Venus because it rocks the boat a little bit. We all go through our basic astrology training, and we're given the rulerships of the various signs. And from day one, we are taught that Sun rules Leo, Moon rules Cancer, Venus rules Taurus and Libra, and that Mercury rules Virgo and Gemini, etc. We're given all these lists of things, and we're sort of accepting of that. We're like, okay, yeah, we'll take these teachings. But I think, and I've spoken to a lot of people over the years, and I really feel like there is a huge problem with Mercury being the ruler of Virgo. I just have a big problem with it, especially when I think about Virgo and how magnificent it is. And then I meet a lot of Virgos and they're real frustrated. And I think there's a simple solution to it. And it may just literally be changing our perspective so that Venus is the ruler of Virgo and that Mercury is the ruler of Libra. And I have data for that. I have my thesis for that. I also have resources that I will point you to so that you can look and do your own research. Most people either really love this conversation or they're like, nah, it's okay. I'm gonna stick with what I know. And that's totally fine. I'm not asking you to believe either way. I'm just saying, let's think about this. In the modern day, should our astrology serve us in all ways? And I think it should. And I think if we can see Venus through Virgo's eyes and vice versa, and then see Mercury through Libra's eyes and vice versa, it just feels so much better. It just feels so much better. I mean, I've seen things where Venus is transiting through Libra, and it's a hard time for everyone. Venus is the planet of experience and embodiment, and she loves sensations, right? She loves to create. She loves orgasm. She loves the thrill. She loves it all. And Libra is very sort of middle of the road. You can't just put a pretty dress on Venus and say, all right, now go be nice to these people. It's not that simple with Venus. So many of you agree with me in the chat, but I'm curious for those of you that don't agree, what are your thoughts? Because once I get through with this, maybe I can change your mind. So that would be cool. All right, we have Lori is here. Let me put you up here. Happy Venus Day. She's saying hello to Black Butterfly. I know you're a Venus and Virgo believer. I've seen you comment out there. Lori says, I hope you had an amazing solar return. My birthday was on Tuesday. And every single year, I have a very challenging birthday. I don't know why, but I feel like I end up going through a transformation of sorts where I have to change the way I think about something. And I had such an experience. I can't really talk about it on the public airwaves, but those of you that know me personally know what's going on. And it's going to be a game changer. It's scary. It's exciting. It's liberating. And also at the same time, kind of disappointing, but we're going to get through it. So that's really all I could say about it. But I'm good. I promise you guys, I am good. I am now 1 year old, older than I was the last time I saw you, 52 years around the sun. So that's a multiple of 13 times 4, important in Mayan cosmology. They say it's a big year for those that are turning 52. And I certainly have the astrology to prove that. So it was good. It was good in a lot of ways. I got to hook up with some people I haven't seen in a while. I got to spend time with my aunt who had moved away from Texas last year, and we hate her for that. We don't hate her for that, but we want her to come back and be with us. But she came to visit, so that was awesome. We drove many hours through Texas country to have our journey, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And then, of course, we spent a couple weeks at the lake in between, and it was great. I drove home this morning. We left around 9 o'clock. Got here about 2 o'clock. Got everything kind of tucked in, and I am ready to do the Corpus Christi routine. So it takes about 4 hours to get there. All right. Hello, Claire Louise. Hello, Heidi. Let's see who else is here. And Lauren and Mary. Awesome. Well, it's good to see all you guys. I'm so happy you're here. Yeah, this is going to be a good conversation. The difference between last year when Venus was moving through Virgo and this year is that I actually have it written out like you would a term paper or a PhD dissertation. I don't think it's as long as a PhD dissertation, but it's a good 5,000 words. So, and I have resources for you. So we're basically going to march through that. And with that, I have also given you some visuals to look at and think about with me when we do it. But of course, we will also go through the sky and we will do a little bit of astrology. So for those of you that don't want the teaching and just want the Venus astrology for the next week, you can grab that and come back to the teaching later. But yeah, I'm so happy to see all you guys here. So good. Well, thank you, Claire. That's very sweet of you. I think it's the peptides that I'm on. We have NAD, glutathione, and of course the hormone treatments. But I feel like myself again, which is great. I'm trying to juggle things in my life so that I won't need to be so brutal with myself. All right. Anyway, let's get into this. We'll start with the sky. We'll look at what's going on right now, and we'll just dive in. We'll share the entire screen, no sound, and share. So hopefully you guys can see this. This is our stellarium-web.org. I'm going to throw in the sun's ecliptic for you so that we can stay oriented to the sky. And this should be right around now. Yep. So if I were to go outside and look up and take my stargazing app and point it over here, I would be able to see exactly what constellations the sun and Venus and Mercury and all these other planets are in. But what's so nice about Stellarium is if it's raining or cloudy or you just don't feel like going outside, you can use this software program. It's simulated and it takes the data from the Swiss ephemeris. So it knows where everything is at every moment. And from this perspective, we are looking southward down, if you will, towards the sun's ecliptic. So that's what this red line is. And we can see the sun doing that hula hoop dance around us. If we were in Australia, Argentina, South Africa, it would look like this at night if we were looking up at the ecliptic in the evening. Although where they are right now, it might be morning. So I like to turn it this way because our charts are oriented this way. And I'm going to take in the constellation so we can see where everything is. And let's take out the atmosphere and we'll take a peek. So here we have the sun. Today is August 7th. And this evening, actually, tonight, the sun will move into the constellation of Leo officially. A lot of people that follow tropical astrology are actually saying that the Lion's Gate's not a thing. It's just a fabricated construct of our calendar, the numerology and whatnot. So it's very interesting because for us, for those of us that actually use the real sky, it does mark something interesting. It's literally when the sun crosses from Cancer to Leo, albeit it's like the Lion's Gate. You can even put the art in here and see there's the lion. There's the crab handing the sun off to the lion, right? That's what we see. And then here we have Jupiter still in Cancer. Jupiter's not in Leo yet, at least in the real sky. Mercury is behind the sun here, just entered Cancer, or might still be in Mercury a little bit. And then we have Venus, of course, in Virgo. She just entered Virgo on the 31st and will be here through the entire months of August, September, October, November, and part of December, because what we are waiting for is the retrograde loop. And we've talked about this the last two live streams. There was a part 1 and a part 2. And the idea was that you would understand why this is a big event, albeit rare. Every 20 months, we are getting closer and closer to that as the weeks and lunations march on. So there's the sun. There's the sun over there at the Lion's Gate, and there is Venus in Virgo. Now, if we want to see the rest of the sky and convince ourselves that it is indeed accurate to the chart that we're going to look at, because we use the charts to analyze these positions. It's actually really nice in this day of an age of technology. We really have no excuse not to use the real sky. So I'm going to take out the landscape and let's see where Saturn is. Oh, look at that down there in Pisces. I see that. Let's get it back to the southern perspective. Oh my goodness. Got myself all twisted. There we go. Here we see Moon in Taurus, and we see Mars right here at the Silver Gate between Taurus and Gemini at the sword of Orion. This is hard energy, this threshold, this crossing. I think tomorrow Mars will be officially in Gemini, which can be nice. It can be creative. So here's our sky. Let's go ahead and check. Let me grab the True Sky software. Let's go to right now. And let's go to right now on here. Back to real time. And there we see Sun at the gate of Cancer and Leo right there. Actually, right now, according to True Sky, Mastering the Zodiac, which uses the midpoint boundaries, Sun is already in Leo. This is one of the points on the charts here that we have that might be a little bit inaccurate. I feel like the Cancer edge is just a few degrees this way. And if you look in the sky, you can see that too. Like it's still touching the claws of Cancer. But Athen does have a very meticulous way of calculating these midpoints, and that's his system. So at any rate, there it is, right there, the sun at the border with Jupiter and Mercury behind it. Here is Mars at the border of Taurus and Gemini. And then Moon conjunct Uranus here in Taurus. We saw Saturn down in Pisces and Venus here in Virgo. So this chart is the same thing as this sky right now. And that's why we use this. So this isn't Vedic. This is not tropical. This is the real sky using modern Western interpretations. Okay, that's basically it. And this software is very cool. It's one of a kind. And it's awesome for beginners. You can get it at TrueSkyMasteringTheZodiac.com. You can click on these and get really basic readings for the positions and the relationships between the planets. You can go into the aspectarian and get the Venus and Mars square. So it's really, really helpful. If you're a beginner and you're just learning astrology and you want to know how to read a chart and what parts are important for you, it's right here. This is it. So today, Venus is pretty active. She's pretty much touching everything. And we'll do so through the eclipse next week. So we have her in Virgo. Remember, she's this devoted, just giving energy that is just connected to all things that work together, the systems that operate the universe. This is what she's into. And we'll look at her picture in a little bit. In a grand trine kite with Pluto, Uranus right here, and Neptune at the top. Excuse me. So in opposition to Neptune, these are higher octaves of one another. This is artistic. This is Neptune's like the media and acting and performative arts and things like that. It's coming from Pisces, so it's real spiritual. And then you have Venus, the planet of embodiment, embodying the magic of Virgo right now, in opposition to this like easy, dreamy, breezy energy. So it can be nice. It can be like trying to balance something, but with this trine, it makes it really easy to just sort of surrender to the spiritual in a way that feels earthy. Right? So imagine like maybe sitting on the dock at sunset by the water, or maybe walking through the woods, climbing a tree, and watching a rainstorm in the distance. You know, that's bringing the earth modality energy into the mystical, because Uranus is also in an earth sign, and so is Pluto, at least in the real sky. So we have an earth trine here that's very inevitable. It's as if you can create in a very guided way. Venus also has some tough aspects right now. One of them is this yod right here. I don't know if you guys can see this. This is two inconjuncts or quincunxes that are awkward. And it's involving the North Node and Chiron. And usually when it's pointing towards one planet like this is the focal point. So this embodiment of this devoted, sacrificial type of energy that is Venus in Virgo, but also like a brilliant creative scientist too. Like if you're scientist natured and Venus is moving through, it can bring creativity to that scientific work. So what is this healing energy? This is the wounded healer teacher, Chiron here. And in Pisces, it's wounds of sensitivity and boundaries. So the way that this works is you ground spiritually. And that's what Neptune's also asking of this chart. And it will help you see where you fit in the greater, bigger picture, which is K2 and Aquarius. So embrace innovation, independence, humanitarian ideals. So originality and community. So there might be, if we can kind of get over our wounds here, there might be a really wonderful creative idea that could heal people, that could help people. So I really like this. This is today. Today's been pretty good, in terms of being creative, getting things done. At least that's what I've experienced. Let me know how your day's gone. It's been it's always nice when moon's in Taurus. When it goes over Uranus, this is kind of a weird space. But we're after that now. So if you guys have had any weird, unexpected things today, let me know in the chat, because I'd be curious to hear about that. Then we have the South Node in Leo, and this is where the eclipse is happening. So as soon as we get this moon conjunct sun on the 12th of August, this will be the solar eclipse of our eclipse season, and that's on August 12th. And in the last Venus video, I took you guys through the eclipse and Venus by your rising sign, so do check that out. But here's the chart for today. Let's watch what she does in the next week or so, and then we'll look at the time map later. We'll get her up to the eclipse. So you can see she's just contacting everything, pretty much the entire lunar cycle. And then when we get to this eclipse right here, we'll put the sun and moon together. Let's back it up a little bit. It's like midday for me, I think, like 1 or 2 o'clock. Yeah. So this might be a different time for you guys, depending on where you are in the world. This is Central Daylight Time in the United States. So it's a daytime eclipse for us, even though we won't see the moon occlude the sun, because the moon is a little bit higher on the ecliptic. And those of you in, I think, Northern Europe, Iceland, Scandinavia area, you'll see this eclipse it's a total eclipse for you guys. So that's pretty cool. And of course, it is trine to Saturn, and that is very interesting. So I did take you guys through this grand trine kite with Venus, Jupiter, Uranus, and Pluto. So do check out that video by your rising sign. But this is the week. This is post eclipse, And then in the last 2 Venus videos, I showed you how long she was going to be in Virgo. So we'll be with this for quite a bit. Yeah, so let me just start off by let me see if I want to how I want to do this. Oh, somebody sent me a kitty cat. That's pretty cool. I don't know how to share that. Lori says today is weird for sure. Yep. Here's the thing about Virgo energy, you guys. I get this all the time too. Whenever they see the sun sign dates, there's never October, because if you were born in October, if your birthday is an October birthday, your sun was in Virgo. The whole month of October is Virgo. Black Butterfly says she's doesn't think Venus rules Virgo. It feels true in her body. Yes, and that is part of the point of what we are going to discuss this evening. Hello, Aluna. Thanks for being here. Awesome. Well, good. Conspirazen says Eva Mar 956. Yes, it's been an intense week for me, for sure. I'm hoping things will just sort of play out the way that they're supposed to, the way that I sort of pre-remember it. It's going to be fine. I'm not worried. I mean, I'm worried, but I'm like, what's the point of worrying, right? You can't. You have to just go with the flow. You have to do your best every day. Wake up grateful, wake up ready to serve. And then, whatever the universe throws at you, it is what it is. Okay, let's talk about this. Venus and Virgo. I've got my notes up here for you. So I'll take you through just an introduction, my thoughts. I've written them out, but I'll read them to you. And then we'll go into the presentation. So here's how we'll start this. Astrology has inherited a set of rulerships so often repeated that they appear unquestionable. Ask nearly any astrologer which planet rules Virgo, and the answer will come without hesitation: Mercury. This assignment is traced back to the Hellenistic era and is codified in medieval astrology, part of the pattern known as the Chaldean order. The sun is said to rule Leo, the moon Cancer, Mercury, Gemini, and Virgo, Venus, Taurus, and Libra, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn claim Aries, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Pisces, and Capricorn and Aquarius. So the scheme does absolutely have an undeniable elegance to it, right? It places the sun and moon at the heart of the zodiac and then steps outward through the visible planets in order of their distance from the sun. The symmetry is neat and it's mathematically pleasing. Yet symmetry alone does not guarantee truth. Behind this tidy arrangement lies a question few have dared to ask. What does it mean for a planet to rule a sign? We tend to imagine rulership as authority, as if planets were monarchs sitting upon the thrones of their sign. But the word ruler also means something subtler and something more revealing. A ruler is a measuring stick. To say that a planet rules a sign may not necessarily mean it dominates, but that it provides the measure or resonance by which that sign is understood. Rulership is not command, but proportion. The ruler is the turning fork that sets the key for the constellation. So if we take this definition seriously, the traditional rulerships deserve a second look. Does Mercury truly measure Virgo? Does his airy, calculating, trickster energy capture the essence of the virgin holding her chaff of wheat? Or is there another planetary frequency that resonates more faithfully with Virgo's archetype? The very structure of the Chaldean order raises the question. Mercury was given both Gemini and Virgo, while Venus was given Taurus and Libra. While on paper this balances, it also conceals an assumption that Mercury and Venus can be treated like Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, as if their relationship to Earth is fixed. Yet Mercury and Venus are not outer planets. They are inner planets, orbiting closer to the sun than Earth does. Their relationship to us is more dynamic, sometimes nearer, sometimes farther, And this fact alone complicates the symmetry and invites reconsideration. This is also the matter of Virgo's symbolic identity. Virgo is the only sign represented as explicitly as feminine. She is the virgin, not like one untouched by experience, but as one sovereign and whole unto herself. Virgo is linked with the harvest, medicine, and sacred craft. These qualities belong to embodiment, proportion, and fertility, themes that align far more with Venus than with Mercury. These questions will be taken up in the sections that follow, and we'll look at the cosmological logic behind planetary rulership, including the order of the planets and the problem of proximity. We will revisit Virgo's archetype and explore the initiatory thresholds of womanhood. We will contrast Mercury and Venus, showing why Mercury fits Libra better and Venus fits Virgo more deeply. We will draw upon mythic and esoteric traditions such as Demeter, Isis, Inanna, and Ixchel to reveal the Venusian resonance within Virgo. We will also name the cultural wound caused by centuries of denying Venus her earthly temple. And finally, envision what healing might come if Virgo were restored to her true rulership. The point of this dissertation is not to dismiss the tradition for novelty's sake. I love novelty. We all do. It is literally to measure again. If ruler means to measure, then Virgo must be measured by the planet that best embodies her rhythm, her intelligence, and her cycles. When we measure with Mercury, Virgo becomes anxious, calculating, perfectionist. And when we measure with Venus, Virgo becomes whole, fertile, sovereign. This is not merely a shift in technique, but a restoration of cosmic proportion. So Venus is the ruler of Virgo. Change my mind. So that's what we're getting into tonight. All right. Let me know what you guys think so far. That's basically the sum up of it. Thank you, Sunny. Good to see you, my love. Pillar Pip is here. Fresh from Archaics. Yeah, I watched that a little bit. He was on fire. Holy smokes. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. I have a PowerPoint for you that I want to get into. So let's do that. Yeah, all that was the intro. This is a good one. I think it's certainly worth thinking about at any rate. The first thing I want to show you is this, because whenever I get close to a Venus retrograde and I start explaining the Phi cycle, and I'm working on a presentation for you guys next week on Phi Day, 8/13, and this showed up. We've been talking about this for the last 3 weeks. From a fern to a galaxy, nature uses the same mathematical code, and you are written in it too. So I thought I'd share that with you guys as we get into this. All right, let's close that. Let's hide that. Let's open this. So we'll start here. This is the Venus transits. We were working on that through the sky and through the chart. This is just another way I like to set it up for y'all so you can see what we are dealing with in terms of day by day energy. So right now we're right here, and this is Sun in Leo. And then we look at all these sign shifts in just one like weekend, right? Sun in Leo, Mars in Gemini, Mercury into Cancer. So everything that, plus we just started with Chiron retrograde, and then we picked up that trine with Pluto and Uranus, and then of course the opposition with Neptune creates that grand trine kite that we're that we're in right now. So that will carry us all the way pretty much to the eclipse. With the sign changes for the other personal planets. And right as we're getting into the eclipse, we get this awesome sextile to Jupiter. This is so good, you guys. Your dreams will come true. I have a feeling everything's just going to turn around and be amazing. And that's the energy I'm pulling through the eclipse with myself. So hopefully you guys are doing that too, because eclipse portals are extremely powerful. If you can keep your mind and your thoughts and your emotions in a place of peace and love and abundance and prosperity and service, this will shift. This will shift a lot of things for you. So a very exciting week coming for all of us. And then, of course, next week, I'm going to see you guys. We're going to talk about Phi Day. It will probably be on Thursday. that we meet instead of Friday because that's the day, right? I mean, that's the day we have to talk about it. And for those of you that love numerology, alchemology, decoding, this will be an absolute day of mind candy for you. So I hope you guys join me next week for that presentation. And all right, so that's that. This is something we've seen before too, isn't it? This is our sort of microcosm of the patterns that are unfolding before us astronomically and cosmologically. So Venus is about to go retrograde here, and this is her whole season of Virgo, basically from July 31st to 12/21. She'll be in the stars of Virgo and then do that retrograde. And this is a very powerful swell of Venusian energy. We are counting down to it by the Fibonacci sequence because Venus's orbit emerges from this phi structured ether. It's very structured shape. It's fourth dimensional, and when thought or energy or intention is blasted through this ether, it resonates and creation happens. And this is what it looks like slowed down, even though it happens in a Planck length second. On the ether level, like at the very, very small. This is happening in real time in our sky, huge. So we get to observe, we get to break it down, we get to figure out what it all means. And that's absolutely my honor and privilege to be able to do that here with all of you. So this is a cool chart that I found for the discovery of our most recent outer planets. So we've always sort of known about the visible planets, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and their traditional rulerships. And we've been cool with all of that. But then during the Age of Enlightenment, we discovered Uranus. And then we discovered Neptune through mathematics. And then we discovered Pluto. And what's interesting is that people notice a pattern of about 65 years between the discovery of Uranus, Neptune to Pluto. Now, they're predicting that perhaps we will find the ruler of Libra and the true ruler of Virgo in these 65-year intervals. I don't know. Time will tell. But anyway, I thought that was interesting. I thought that I would show that to you just to prove again to you that there are these cycles. There's a mathematical pattern underneath of everything. And we are just beginning to scratch the surface of it. You know, you dive into Archaic's research and you can see he covers vast expanses of time and he sees these patterns. And then you do Logan's work and he just goes deep into all the synchronicities in every way, in every pattern. And the patterns emerge there. And then you can see it in the sky and you can see it at the very small too. So it's just fascinating. These are our topics that we will go through for this thesis. The first is the cosmological logic. So if we look at the Chaldean order and then we look at astrology, there's a disconnect there. I mean, if you think about the Chaldean order, really the brilliance of it, and let me just speak this real quick. The sun and moon occupy those central thrones of Leo and Cancer. The planets step outward from there, each given two domiciles. Mercury to Gemini and Virgo, Venus to Taurus and Libra, Mars to Aries and Scorpio, Jupiter will get Sagittarius and Pisces, and Saturn gets Capricorn and Aquarius. This system reflects the ancient cosmology of the nested spheres, with Earth at the center and each planet revolving in its crystalline shell. And from a distance, the scheme appears irrefutable. But after what I'm about to show you, you might change your mind. Let me just go through some quick announcements really quickly before I dive in and I forget to tell you guys about all of these things. I just want to thank all of you Patreon members, my stargazers. We are meeting on Sunday at 6 p.m. So I have sent you all the Zoom link, and also several of the student groups have received a link to attend this meeting. This is like pre-eclipse gaming, right? So we're going to get in there. We're going to review the eclipse. If you've got questions about your chart, you've been learning with us, or you're part of the Patreon Stargazers community, you can come and ask us questions. So I hope to see you all there. You should have the Zoom link. If you want to get the Zoom link and you don't know how to get it, best way to do that is probably to join the Patreon membership for this month at any rate. So there's that. And then also coming up in 8 days from today is the Venus Frequency Weekend of Love. If you love doing this, if you love Venus, if you love astrology and you really want to just kind of dive into a planet that can change how you look at the world, how you look at life, how you look at yourself. You don't even really need to be a reader to get a benefit out of knowing this much about your own Venus. So if you're a teacher, you're an entrepreneur, you're a parent, you're just wanting to, maybe you got a lot of Venus in your own chart, or Taurus, or even Virgo, come and do this with us. We're going to do 3 hours on Saturday and 3 hours on Sunday. And my Yoni Magic, my Venus Magic women are joining us. They've already had the big experience with Venus and the reading and understanding their Venus energy. So they're going to basically share witness with me, with you, about how to use this cycle for your benefit, how it opens you up into a whole new way of looking at the world. So if it resonates with you guys, come on, join us. Don't be scared. You don't need to know a lot. You do need some basic astrology just to understand our language. But other than that, it'll be easy. Also, critical question number 5 is coming next Sunday with Logan and myself. We have 4 amazing guests, 1 special guest. We have an amazing announcement too about the critical question 6, and it seems like this thing's picking up a little bit of steam. So we're really, really excited. If you do have a question for us, please email thecriticalquestion@gmail.com, or you can go to loganspotlight.life/critical question and submit it via the form. We are still taking questions for next weekend. So if you guys have one that's burning on your brain, please send it over. I think that's all of it. Okay, let's get into this. The cosmological logic. Now, this is a model. This is not a belief system. Okay, this is simply a model of how the solar system may work based on our observations down here on Earth and satellites that go all over the place. Okay, this model works. We can predict where things are. And so I like it. I use it because it helps me make a point. And the point is that Venus and Mercury are not always, the same distance away from us and the sun. They're inner planets, right? They orbit between Earth and sun. In fact, this is what we're approaching in the next several months. This subtle fact unravels the supposed permanence of the Chaldean symmetry, because Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn will always be farther away from us than the sun. They never cross our orbit, but Venus and Mercury do. Well, not the actual orbit of Earth, but they cross the path between us and sun. They approach Earth from within, creating loops of visibility that are not fixed like the stately rhythms of the outer planets, but variable, sometimes near, sometimes farther. And this dynamism is the heart of the problem. You see, Mercury completes an orbit around the sun in about 88 days. Venus does it in 225 days. And from the Earth perspectives, these cycles take on a synodic manifestation, meaning that when it's just one body in relation to a fixed star, you get the sidereal days, 88 days and 225 days. But when you watch the orbits with relationship to another body that also moves, like the sun, then you get a synodic cycle. The moon has a synodic cycle. We look at it every single month. It's called the new moon. So new moon to new moon is one synodic cycle for the moon. So while Mercury has a sidereal cycle of 88 days, its synodic cycle with the sun is 116 days, and Venus's it's even longer. It's 584 days. There are about 5 Mercury cycles within one Venus cycle. Okay, I know that's a lot of numbers. Those absolutely do play out, but you can see that these there's a different rhythm to this, right? Mercury's quick. It's always spinning. He's rarely visible for long stretches, right? Racing around the sun. He's a morning sky energy, and then for a few weeks he's an evening star energy, and it's always back and forth, bringing us through retrograde and driving us crazy, right? Venus, on the other hand, takes a very long time. This is 20 months. She lingers. She rises before dawn for 10 months and sets after the sun for 10 months. The geometry of these cycles, I think, matter because during inferior conjunction with Venus and Earth, Venus passes between Earth at a distance of about, this is what they say anyway, 25 million miles. Mercury never comes closer than 48 million miles when he's this way. So Venus, if they were to both all line up at once, Venus would be closer to Earth than Mercury, you see. So even though the innermost planet is in the orbital order, Venus is sometimes the closest planet to Earth in the lived experience. So if the ruler means measure and the measure could potentially mean proximity and resonance, Venus has a stronger claim than Mercury to the earthy energy of Virgo. You see, this is enormous distances where they switch places. So that normal Chaldean order can't really work. So that's thing one. Now we have just the real raw Virgo. Actually, I have more to say about this cosmological logic real quick. Let me just get into this. All right. So then we have, okay, so first we have distance. We talked about that. It kind of breaks the Chaldean order with distance, but we also have the brilliance, the how bright that energy is. Venus's magnitude is negative 4.6. It's actually bright enough to cast a shadow on Earth during a new moon. She's so luminous that cultures across the globe use her cycles as a clock. The Maya built the Dresden Codex Venus tables, carefully charting her heliacal risings and invisibility phases to time rituals of fertility and war. Babylonian priests tracked her phases for centuries, associating her with Ishtar, the goddess of love and war. And by contrast, Mercury is faint, often lost in the solar glare, and difficult for even modern skywatchers to observe. If a ruler is a measure, then visibility, visible and steady Venus again outweighs Mercury. So the Chaldean order then assumes Libra as a stable sign for Venus. And this too is historically shaky, because in many ancient star lists, Libra didn't even exist as a separate constellation at all. It was considered the claws of Scorpio. Virgo, however, has always been depicted as a feminine, a goddess figure holding a sheaf of wheat or a branch. The Babylonians associated her with Shala, the goddess of the grain. The Greeks linked her with Astraea or Demeter. And across cultures, Virgo was tied to the harvest, fertility, and divine feminine embodiment. So to assign Mercury here, simply for the sake of symmetry, ignores thousands of years of cultural resonance. Venus's own cycle also points to Virgo, because every 8 years, Venus returns to nearly the same spot in the zodiac, creating the famous Venus in Virgo star point. So one of those petals consistently lands in Virgo, and this is no accident. It is the sky itself inscribing Venus's mark upon the sign of Virgo, and Mercury leaves no such pattern. He drifts in a procession, but Venus will be doing her star point in Virgo for centuries. Okay, so Venus weaves a cosmic mandala, returning like clockwork, marking Virgo with her signature star point. So this cosmological logic is clear. Mercury belongs to Gemini. His quicksilver nature fits the airy sign of duality and dialogue. He appears briefly in the dawn and dusk sky, just as Gemini thrives on multiplicity, change, and curiosity. Mercury's rulership of Gemini is unquestionable. Venus belongs to Virgo, however. Her cycle of proximity, brilliance, and recurrence harmonizes with Virgo's archetype of fertility, embodiment, and craft. Venus doesn't skim, but lingers. She doesn't shatter, she weaves. She doesn't vanish in trickery, but inscribes her rose upon the heavens. And by placing Mercury in Virgo, astrologers preserve symmetry, but they lose the truth. The Virgin became defined by nervous calculation, criticism, and impossible standards of perfection. These distortions reflect Mercury's anxious energy rather than Venus's fertile wholeness. Venus, ruling Virgo, corrects a cosmological misstep and heals a symbolic wound. Virgo deserves a ruler who measures her cycles of embodiment without fleeting tricks of intellect. The heavens reveal this in the measurement. Venus is sometimes the closest, Venus is always the brightest, and she is the one who inscribes Virgo with her star. So Mercury, by default and by merit, could potentially belong to Libra, right? Libra has always been inscribed as the sign of partnership, law, justice. These are the realms of contract and negotiation. Mercury is naturally suited to this terrain. He governs language, documents, trade, and mediation. Where Venus struggles to remain authentic in Libra, constrained by appearances of harmony, Mercury excels. He balances arguments, weighs the claims, brokers agreements, and the scales of Libra are more naturally held in Mercury's hands than in Venus. Mercury, as ruler of Gemini and Libra, preserves his identity as the planet of exchange in both ideas and relationships. So Venus, by contrast, belongs with Virgo. Her cycle of proximity, brilliance, and recurrence harmonizes more with Virgo's archetype. Venus does not skim or chatter. She lingers and weaves, and she is exceptional without trickery. Mercury in Virgo preserves symmetry, but loses the truth. It transformed our Virgin into a character of anxious calculation and perfectionism. And these distortions reflect Mercury's restless energy rather than Venus's fertile wholeness. So now let's get into the real raw Virgo. So there she is, and she's rising in this picture. And so she's standing straight up and down, and you'll get different depictions of her. You might see her as a little bit older, maybe less boobies, but she's basically this feminine energy that takes care of things. In fact, I don't even think we could have reality if we didn't have the Virgo archetype, because this is the energy that brings life, soul into creation and into matter. It is through her, through the sacrifice of the body, giving the body to spirit to such a point that you maybe even die a little to create life and to bring it down here and to birth it into existence. Okay. And then the flip side of Virgo, the inverse of Virgo, is the dying energy. She sweeps up all the decaying material, all the detritus and the chaos, and gives it back to the universe. So she keeps you clean and comfortable and makes you alive. The things that are vulnerable get the love of Virgo, and it's beautiful. So when Virgo is measured by Venus instead of Mercury, we have an entirely different image that begins to arise. She's not the anxious perfectionist of pop astrology. She is the virgin, whole, unto herself. She is real, raw, sovereign. And in the ancient sense, the word virgin never really meant chaste or untouched. It meant a woman who belongs to no one but herself. Virgo is the only constellation pictured as a feminine, and that detail matters. The virgin has always been drawn with a sheaf of wheat in her hand. She carries the grain, the fruit of the harvest, the food that sustains life. These are not mercurial symbols, friends. They do not speak of ledgers and lists. They speak of fertility, of embodiment, and the cycles of the earth. The Babylonians linked her to Shala, the goddess of the grain. The Greeks associated her with Demeter. Virgo is not counting seeds. She is carrying them. She is not balancing accounts. She is blending the soil. Virgo is not an abstract sign. Virgo is an embodied one. Venus also measures embodiment. She is the one, if you haven't watched my presentations in the last few weeks, go watch them. She is the one who gives us proportion, harmony, and rhythm. And in Virgo, Venus presides over the initiations of the divine feminine. Here, the thresholds of life are honored for what they truly are. Menstruation arrives with its blood and pain and sacrifice. Sexual initiation arrives with its chaos, vulnerability, and its ecstasy. Pregnancy reshapes the body and the spirit. Birth opens the door between life and death, and motherhood demands devotion, sacrifice, and fierce love. Menopause strips away fertility and gives a new kind of sovereignty. These are not experiences Mercury can interpret. They can't be interpreted. They can only be felt, and they belong to Venus in Virgo. For centuries, our culture has tried to erase these thresholds. Menstruation has been hidden or suppressed. Sexuality has been distorted into performance. Pregnancy and birth have been medicalized. Menopause has been dismissed as decline. All of this reflects Virgo. All of this reflects Virgo measured by Mercury. It produces anxiety, criticism and perfectionism. But when Virgo is measured by Venus, the shame falls away and the rites are restored as sacred. Virgo is also the weaver. Across the cultures, the goddess with her loom is the image of creation itself. Creation itself. Virgo will hold the wheat that will be grounded, sifted, and woven into bread, and Venus is the planet of the pattern. She inscribes that rose in the sky every 8 years, and her cycle is a web that is weaved. Virgo is not mercurial scribbling. Virgo is Venusian weaving. Weaving is also the way healing happens, and Virgo has always been tied to medicine, to herbs, and the arts of the midwife. There's no calculations here. There's a rhythm that you follow, that you get in sync with, and the healer restores to proportion to the body and to the breath. Mercury may prescribe by number, but Venus heals by restoring the balance. The midwife's touch, the herbalist's tea, the prayer stitched into cloth, they all belong to Venus in Virgo. The rawness of Virgo is her intimacy with the body. She knows the cycles and the fluids and the mess. She tends to the animals. She gathers the herbs. She kneels in the soil and she catches the babies. She knows blood. She knows milk. She listens to the breath. Mercury is extremely uncomfortable here. He abstracts, categorizes, puts a price on it, sells it to the highest bidder. But Venus thrives here. She delights in the rhythm. She finds beauty in fertility and in decay. So Virgo, measured by Venus, reveals a deeper perfection. Not a perfection of flawlessness, but the perfection of wholeness. And not control, but resonating with rhythm. Virgo is whole because she is willing to be real, and Virgo is whole because she is willing to be raw. So here's the Mercury problem. It's elemental, right? I mean, if this doesn't work for every single sign and planet, but if we're dealing with the inner planets, this tracks. So Mercury, if we give him control of Virgo, is in control of a masculine sign and a feminine sign. Whereas if he was in control of Libra, he would be in control of masculine signs and both air signs. Okay, right? Because Gemini and Libra are air signs. If Venus got her Earth throne back in Virgo, then it would be 2 feminine signs with Earth elements. So it's elemental too when you think about it, right? Okay, so we've gone through just the positions of the planets in general, what Virgo actually means, and how Mercury is really bad for that. So let's get into let's get into Venus versus Mercury, like the problem. Let's see why no one is talking about this, but everybody is talking about it. They just haven't pointed the problem to this particular positioning, okay? If Mercury has been given Virgo for centuries, the results of this misattribution are visible both in astrology and in our culture. When we measure Virgo by Mercury, the Virgin is stripped of her sovereignty and turned into a servant of impossible perfection. She becomes the critic, the worrier, the anxious one who polices every detail. Mercury is the planet of intellect, language, and trade, governing the pen, the scales, and the quick wit. And all of these are powerful gifts, but they do not belong in the Virgin's temple. Virgo is an earth sign. She belongs to the body, to fertility, and to the cycles of nature. Mercury does not live easily in the body. Mercury abstracts, he calculates. Mercury takes the living pulse of the body and translates it into categories and data. This has value in Gemini, where multiplicity and dialogue thrive on swift exchange. But when Mercury is made ruler of Virgo, embodiment becomes commoditized. The Virgin's intelligence, which is rhythmic and fertile, becomes anxious and transactional instead. Mercury's association with Virgo has reinforced a cultural obsession with flawlessness, perfection. Under his rule, Virgo is told that she is never enough. She must improve, refine, and control. Women, in particular, have carried this distortion, but we all do. The virgin, who should embody wholeness, has been turned into the impossible fantasy of perfection. The result is centuries of torment in which women have been taught to hate their bodies, to mistrust their cycles, and to compete with one another in the pursuit of unattainable ideals. The scar of this distortion runs deep in the maternal lineage of every single one of us alive today. We see it in hormonal contraceptives that silence menstruation, in technologies that turn reproduction into commerce, in cosmetic industries that profit from insecurity, and in the medicalization of birth that disempowers them. Mercury calculates, he organizes and arranges, but he does not honor the raw mess of blood, milk, and tears. He does not guide the soul through the thresholds of menstruation, sexuality, pregnancy, birth, and menopause. He is quicksilver thought, but not sovereign embodiment. And when Mercury rules Virgo, the virgin is measured by impossible standards. She becomes anxious, sterile, and ashamed. Venus, by contrast, does not calculate. She embodies. She governs proportion, beauty, and fertility. Her rhythm is not the hurried pace of Mercury, but the lingering, radiant cycle of morning and evening star. Venus measures patterns, inscribes her rose in the sky, and returns every 8 years to weave her star points in Taurus and in Virgo. She belongs in Virgo because Virgo is the place where pattern and body meet. The virgin is the weaver, the healer, the herbalist, and the midwife, and these roles belong to Venus, not to Mercury. Mercury thrives in Gemini, where the mind is playful and fluid, and in Libra, where negotiation and contracts require mediation. Gemini is language and duality. Libra is exchange and arbitration, and these belong to Mercury's domain. Virgo is the real and the raw, the blood and the grain, the loom and the healing touch. Virgo is where Venus rules because only Venus honors the body as temple. When we compare the two planets directly, the misfit becomes undeniable. Mercury is intellect. Venus is embodiment. Mercury is transaction and Venus is proportion. Mercury chatters. Venus is harmony. Mercury is restless motion, and Venus is enduring rhythm. Mercury thrives in cleverness of negotiation and exchange. Venus thrives in the sovereignty of the feminine and the wisdom of the cycles. Virgo measured by Mercury is anxious and sterile, and Virgo measured by Venus is whole and sovereign. I'm not saying Mercury is unimportant. He's essential. He rules Gemini and Libra, where his gifts shine. The problem is that Mercury does not belong to Virgo. His presence there has distorted both the archetype of Virgo and the lived experience of the feminine. Venus restores Virgo to her temple. She measures Virgo by beauty, proportion, and rhythm rather than anxiety and perfectionism. And the contrast is stark. Mercury turns Virgo into critic. Venus restores her as creatrix. Mercury calculates. Venus weaves. Mercury dissects and Venus heals. Mercury's categorizing and Venus births it into creation. So this is really the problem with Mercury, and this is why I think Venus is the solution, and it's connected to a much deeper wound or imbalance within the collective consciousness. I see Decode Your Reality in the chat, bringing up all the numbers. I don't disagree that the numbers line up, but the energy, the experience of it, when people see their Virgo rising through the eyes of Venus, it changes everything. So at the very least, if you can't come to the conclusion that I have, maybe you wouldn't say that Venus is in detriment in Virgo. So the mythological logic. I'd like to take you through a few of Virgo's archetypes, and then you can tell me, like a few of the goddesses associated with her, and you can tell me if they're mercurial or if they are Venusian. Okay? So let's go through this. The first one is Demeter. So myth has always been the hidden language of astrology. The constellations are not just the dots of light, but they're like living stories, carrying meaning across generations. It's how we educated the young. We would tell them stories while staring at the sky. Virgo is the only explicitly feminine figure in the zodiac, and she's always been connected to goddesses of fertility, harvest, and healing. These myths, drawn from Greece, Egypt, Mesopotamia, and the Americas, echo the qualities of Venus. They reveal a weaving, an embodiment, a descent, and a rebirth. When Virgo is measured by Venus, these stories make sense. And when Virgo is measured by Mercury, they collapse into caricature. The Greeks preserved Virgo's imagery through Demeter and her daughter Persephone. Demeter is the goddess of grain and harvest, the one who nourishes humanity with bread. Her myth centers on loss and descent. Persephone is abducted into the underworld, and Demeter's grief brings famine to the earth. Only when Persephone returns does the earth bear fruit again. This is the cycle of Virgo. It is loss, descent, and the return of fertility. It is Venusian in nature, tied to the cycles of the body and of the land. Venus herself disappears into the underworld during her conjunctions with the sun, only to rise again as the morning or evening star. And the myth of Demeter and Persephone is not a tale of mercurial calculation. It is the story of Venusian rhythm, grief, and renewal. We can examine Isis. In Egypt, the story of Isis don't they look the same? You're carrying the staff. This is a similar logic. Isis is the goddess of healing, magic, and motherhood. When her husband Osiris is killed and dismembered, Isis gathers his scattered parts, reassembles him, and conceives their child Horus. She is the weaver and healer and mother and magician. Virgo's imagery of wheat and fertility belong to Isis, and her role is not to calculate, but to restore and embody. Her myth shows that healing comes through devotion, embodiment, and love, and these are all qualities aligned with Venus, not Mercury, in my opinion. So then we have Inanna, probably one of the most famous characters in Sumerian astrology, Mesopotamian astrology. I love how she looks like she's the strength card. She's got a lion right there. This is Inanna. This is Ishtar. This is the goddess of love and war. Inanna's myth of descent is the oldest known story. She enters the underworld, stripped of her adornments at each gate, and she stands naked before her sister Ereshkigal. Inanna dies, but she is revived and returns to the world above. The pattern of descent, death, and rebirth mirrors Venus's own synodic cycle when she disappears into the beams of the sun, only to reemerge renewed. So there's a myth written into the Venus cycle itself, right? This is an embodiment of descent and death and rebirth. So Virgo as Venus, has nothing to do with perfectionism. It's about getting to the raw, basic building blocks. So finally, let me just show you this association. The strength card in the tarot, this is Inanna, Ishtar, and the 8 is, of course, associated with the 8-year Venus rose. And of course, I realized this after I created this, which we are 8 days from this weekend of love, the Venus frequency. It just reminded me of the strength card. I said, create something around the theme of the strength card for this meme, for this, marketing email that I'm sending. And I got this, and then we're talking about this right now. So pretty synchronous. Okay, I had another one, but I guess she didn't make it in there. Oh, Ixchel. There we go. Ixchel is the next goddess, and this is from the Mayas. So she carries the same qualities. You can see these goddesses all have similar energies, right? This was the god of the moon, medicine, midwifery, and weaving. In the Dresden Codex, she is shown pouring water from a jar, both nourishing and flooding the earth. And she presided over menstruation, childbirth, and healing rites for women. Ixchel held the spindle and the loom, teaching that creation itself is woven. Her wisdom reflects the raw feminine intelligence that belongs to Virgo. Venus's cycle were central to Maya astronomy and ritual. It's no coincidence that Virgo's resonance with Ixchel and Venus are together. So you can see that these myths, they share these themes. Not only do they all look similar, but they share the same theme, right? Embodiment, fertility, weaving, descent, renewal. Demeter wept until the earth died and then restored it with joy. Isis weaves the body of Osiris back together. Inanna descends into the underworld and returns transformed, and Ixchel weaves and bleeds, healing through the rhythm and through the water. None of these myths belong to Mercury. Not a single one. Mercury's the messenger, the trickster, and the one who negotiates and calculates. It's not what Virgo's about. Virgo is not about clever tricks. She is about these cycles of blood and grief and fertility and rebirth. And these stories reveal Virgo as Venusian. I also think that these myths explain why Venus is actually uneasy in Libra. In Libra, Venus must remain polite, diplomatic, and pleasing, while in Virgo, she is allowed to descend, to rage, to bleed, to grieve, and to heal. And in Libra, she's asked to put a dress on and smile. In Virgo, she's allowed to be raw. The myths of Demeter, Isis, Inanna, and Ixchel show Venus in her truest in Virgo. She is the virgin, not untouched, but sovereign. She belongs to herself. So if myth is a logic of its own, then this is another resonance we find. We look at Virgo through the lens of myth and Mercury disappears. The virgin was never a messenger or a clerk. She's always the goddess of fertility and weaving and descent. And Venus's cycles echo these myths. Her star points mark Virgo and Taurus with her rose. Her descent and return mirror the goddesses who die and rise again. And myth reveals the truth that astronomy confirms. Virgo is Venus's temple, and her mythic rulers are the goddesses who embody Venusian wisdom. So there's that. And then we have the ancient feminine wound. This probably should have been up here with the Mercury problem, but let me just go through this. If you guys want, this is the masculine feminine ring of the zodiac, and can be helpful to sort of think about this as we go through this last section. We're getting through it. We just have maybe like 800 more words. So Virgo has the ancient feminine wound. This is where it is. If you think about anybody's chart, if you want to get right down to where the mother line is traumatized, you want to look in Virgo. Sometimes you can look at what the mother's pregnancy of that person that you're reading for, that's their Virgo. So their mother's pregnancy is a Virgo energy. And this is a wound of centuries, and it's one we all feel. You see, the Virgin used to be revered. It was meant to embody wholeness and sovereignty and raw intelligence of the body. Yet when Mercury was placed here as the ruler, Virgo became measured by calculation rather than that embodiment. This subtle misplacement has rippled through cultures and through generations. It's left scars in the collective feminine that are literally still bleeding. Mercury is a wonderful planet, brilliant in its own right. Speech, trade, travel, negotiation, intelligence, quick, clever, restless. I love it. I have Venus in Gemini. I love Mercury. In Gemini and Libra, these gifts are flourishing. But when Mercury is asked to rule Virgo, he begins to measure what cannot be measured. You cannot measure the divine feminine energy. These cycles turn into commodities. The rhythm becomes data, transforming embodiment into perfectionism. And the result is an archetype of Virgo that is anxious, critical, and sterile. The distortion has shaped how we treat the feminine. Instead of honoring menstruation as initiation, culture has silenced it. Instead of revering childbirth as a threshold, culture has medicalized it. Instead of treating menopause as the crowning passage into wisdom, culture has named it decline. The body has become a problem to be fixed rather than a temple to be honored. And this is Virgo under Mercury's rule. The Virgin has been rewritten as servant rather than sovereign. And the wound runs deep in our maternal lineage. Generations of women have been taught to see their bodies as imperfect. Entire industries profit from this very scar. Hormonal contraceptives promise control by muting the cycle altogether. Artificial reproductive technologies turn contraception into conception, the act of making a human being into a transaction. The beauty industry thrives on convincing women they are never enough. And medicine has often stripped birth from the hands of mothers and midwives, replacing sacred thresholds with sterile procedures. This is not the intelligence of a Venus in Virgo. This is the distortion of Mercury trying to rule where he does not belong or where he cannot understand. Now, under Mercury's influence, Virgo has been portrayed as judgmental and critical. These traits are not inherent to the true essence of Virgo. They are symptoms of a misapplied measure. When Venus is restored, that criticism falls away, and Virgo is restored and revealed as the healer, the weaver, and the initiator. She's wholeness, not perfection. She's sovereignty, not sterility. And the ancient wound will begin to close. It's important to see that Mercury is not the villain here. He's simply misplaced. His measure belongs to the realms of words, contracts, and exchanges. And Virgo is not his temple. When we force Mercury to rule Virgo, the body is reduced to analysis. When Venus is restored as the ruler, the body is remembered as sacred. This feminine wound is ancient because this misrule has been accepted for thousands of years. Myth shows Virgo always as goddess, yet astrology made her servant of Mercury. That contradiction has echoed into culture. The virgin has been silenced, shamed, and commoditized. But she's not gone. She is waiting to be remembered through the eyes of Venus, her rightful queen. So we're naming the wound here, but we're also naming the healing. When we measure Virgo by Venus, we lock into the sacred rhythms. Menstruation becomes a sacred rhythm. Sexuality becomes an awakening. Pregnancy and birth become thresholds of power, and menopause becomes sovereignty. Healing is restored to the herbalist's touch, and weaving is restored as a sacred craft, and perfection is redefined as wholeness. So the wound of Virgo under Mercury is a scar of disembodiment, really. Both Venus into Libra and Mercury into Virgo. And the healing of Virgo under Venus is the restoration of that embodiment. The virgin was never meant to be anxious, critical, or sterile. She was always meant to be real, raw, and whole. Now, the zodiac isn't random. Its rhythm alternates between these masculine and feminine energies. It's activity and receptivity, positive and negative. You start with Aries. Aries is masculine. Taurus is feminine. Gemini is masculine, back and forth. So the whole wheel basically just goes back and forth, kind of like field lines of a magnetic dipole. So if you were to draw a magnet in here, you would have these field lines just sort of, pouring out of it. That's what the plus minus is. It's energy and magnetism, essentially. So Virgo is one of these feminine signs in this pattern, right here. And to place Mercury here disrupts this logic a little bit. I mean, Saturn can be thought of as masculine, and it's in the feminine sign of Capricorn. So like I said, this doesn't always work. But when you think about the divine feminine wound, I think it does work. I think it does work to make this right, to make this accurate. Mercury here will disrupt the logic. Mercury by nature carries a more androgynous or even a masculine energy. He's a quicksilver messenger, a trickster, and the one who moves. Venus, on the other hand, embodies that divine feminine energy, right? She resonates naturally with Virgo's polarity. When Virgo is measured by Venus, the gender rhythm of the zodiac remains intact, and also by element with Earth energy of Virgo and Taurus. Libra, by contrast, is a masculine sign. It initiates, it projects, it externalizes. And Venus, although she rules relationships, is not naturally comfortable in this masculine mode. In Libra, she's often asked to put on a pleasing surface, to appear harmonious, but underneath and inside, her energy remains uneasy and restless. Mercury, leaning more masculine, thrives in Libra because Libra governs contracts, partnerships, and negotiations. I think both are necessary for healthy and prosperous relationships. But like when we talk about the rulerships of the sign, this just makes so much more sense to me. So Mercury, the arena, will do better in the arenas of logic, mediation, and exchange, which is Libra. So if we see it this way, Venus in Virgo, Mercury in Libra, we're not just rebalancing the planetary rulers, but we're restoring the zodiac's gendered rhythm as well, right? The feminine signs are anchored by feminine rulers, masculine signs supported by rulers who lean masculine. Venus belongs in Virgo as the divine feminine, Mercury in Libra as the masculine arbiter of balance. This reframes and restores the harmony at the level of the masculine feminine polarity itself, I think. Although it's not a strong case for all the planets, but for those two, I think it is. All right, so I have one final thought on this. I think this is the end of this presentation. We should restore Venus to Virgo. If we're willing to measure Virgo by Venus, if we can actually accept all this information and say, okay, maybe I can think about it this way, then the ancient wound can begin to heal. This isn't really an academic correction of rulerships. It's like looking at where we're wounded, at where the problems are, and reorienting how we see ourselves, our bodies, and our place in the cosmos. Virgo, ruled by Mercury, gives us anxiety, perfectionism, and shame. Virgo, measured by Venus, restores wholeness, sovereignty, and sacred rhythm. The beauty of this reframing is that nothing's really lost here, right? Mercury will not be diminished whatsoever as the ruler of Libra. His true measure is revealed in these two signs, Gemini and Libra, governing language, curiosity, and duality. And in Libra, it's contracts, exchange, and mediation. These are Mercury's true domains, and he thrives in them. To let Mercury rule Libra is to free him for what he does best. So why wouldn't we want to do that? To let Venus rule Virgo, the Virgin returns to her temple. The weaving goddess, the midwife, the healer, the sovereign woman, restored to their rightful place. Venus measures Virgo by pattern, by cycle, and by embodiment. Now fertile, no longer sterile, no longer anxious, but now whole and honored. And together, this reframing reveals a deeper harmony. Venus rules that Taurus and Virgo, the two earth signs that nurture fertility and embodiment. And Mercury and Gemini and Libra, the two air signs that govern language and exchange. So the order is restored with balance, and it is confirmed by their movements through the sky. Venus and Earth, Mercury and air, the Virgin and the messenger, each standing in their rightful places. So the question is whether we are ready to see this. Can we actually do our astrology this way? Can we allow Venus to reclaim Virgo and allow Mercury to shine in Libra? Can we receive this correction as a healing of the ancient wound, I guess, a restoration of the feminine, and a remembrance of the true logic of the heavens? If we do, we might discover more than a technical correction in our astrology. We might discover a new way of seeing ourselves. We may learn that our cycles are sacred, our bodies are whole, and that our divinity is revealed when we measure ourselves, not by anxious perfection, but by rhythm, proportion, and harmony. So Venus is the ruler of Virgo, and Mercury is the ruler of Libra. This reframing may be the measure that restores our true nature. Here is part of the 53 resources that I'm using to write the Venus frequency that refer to this chapter alone. So I'll just let you look at that for a moment if you want to screenshot it. This book right here will break your brain. This Rebecca Stanton book, Venus in Virgo, like it triggered me. It made me not like Venus, not like Mercury in Virgo at all. So this is a good one to read. And then also, I cited Chris Brennan, a tropical astrologer, and then just some other historians. So there it is. That's our presentation, my friends. Hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed giving it to you. I love doing this talk. It gets better and better every time I do it, especially now that I have it written down in an actual chapter. So that's pretty cool. And if you guys join us for the Venus Frequency Weekend of Love, you will get the unedited manuscript of the Venus Frequency, which includes that chapter. So you guys will have access to all of that. And that's 90,000 words in total that you'll have access to. I'd actually really like your feedback as you're reading it too. Like, wow, I have this in, this Venus in this house and this sign. And I read the chapter and I'm just like, whoa. or that didn't make sense to me. I have this, that would be great. Just so we can make sure everybody has the right information. But yeah, let's see what you guys were saying. I saw Logan lurking out there. Let's see what he says. All right, let's see. That's a good point. Venus sits across from Mercury. I think at the very least that the two of those planets should co-rule the Libra and Virgo spaces. And I do that when I do my rising sign readings and I show you guys your chart rulers. I always say, hey, consider this other planet. That might be your chart ruler. Let's see. Heather says, I feel like knowing Venus better would be life-changing for me, especially with replacements in my chart. The Venus class coming up sounds like a great start. Yeah. I think you're in that. I thought I saw you sign up for that. It's going to be good. Yeah. If you're referring to the one where we're comparing the medicalized birth with sort of the physical divine sovereignty, then yeah, that's the Stanton book. If you read the Stanton book that on the bibliography, just makes you sick when you think about it. All right. All right, cool. Even Logan is willing to see a co-rulership of Virgo. So that's good. That's good. So the code can work with the mythological archetype energy. Lori says, I say Venus rules it all. I might agree with you. At least for me, she's my chart ruler. So that's great. Thank you, guys. Michelle Curtis says, I've never felt so seen as a Virgo rising. Thank you, Dr. Dani. My pleasure. Here's an argument for Mercury. So, yes, the Virgo energy does that. And I think that's the problem. I think that's because it's trying to be perfect because Mercury's trying to make the most money off of it and to understand it. And when we just let go and we just stop trying to like overly understand something, it flows. It's easier, especially when it's feminine energy. I'm a medical doctor and I take care of birthing women. Okay. So I know like all the science behind it. And sometimes you got to just do what's right for the patient in the moment, science, do what's right for the patient. So it's not always about the data. And I just think if we let that go a little bit, it would be better. Yeah, if Logan wants to come on, I'll send him the link. Guys, I'm just looking at your chat back and forth. Yeah. Well, I don't think God is either masculine or feminine either. I think the monad, the one, is both. It's all things, right? It's the mind. And the first distortion was the masculine, feminine, the positive, the negative, the male, female polarity. If you think about it, if you've got just the monad, right, and there's nothing going on except the mind and all the mind and everything is known, it's not very exciting. It's very just sort of homogenous, all one color, one flavor. But then that first distortion of positive and negative, male and female, that first distortion in the ether creates it creates an oscillation in the field, which is vibration, which makes a frequency. So now there's a frequency in the field and it's different from the field. So you have the field and the frequency and they see each other. And that's the first distortion that they talk about. And I think it's in the law of one and it's male and female. And so we're all just trying to get back together. Demeter traveled on a chariot drawn by dragons. That's amazing. Yeah. Thank you, Melinda. You don't have to agree. I'm just saying this is what I see. This is what I've researched. This is what I think. This is even just in experiencing charts with people that have very strong Virgo, or they have, especially Virgo rising. Because these people, if you give them the permission to use Venus as their chart ruler, it changes everything. Like, they're just amazing. Greeks called Mercury star Apollo and Mercury evening star Hermes. Thank you, Sunny. I appreciate you. Right? Isn't Virgo always the sign we always learned that was just like, oh, I don't want Virgo energy. Why do I have stuff in Virgo? That's what that is. But what if you grew up learning that Virgo was this beautiful birthing mother sky goddess? What if you found that out? Hey, Trish. Yeah. You're going to love this or you're going to hate it. Either way. Claire Louise is feeling it. Everybody feels like crying. Oh. You guys, I take care of women every day. I talk to you guys every single day, all day. And I am one too. And I know your struggles and I feel your struggles. And even those of you men that are, you're the reason your masculine feels so either lethargic or over the top is because the feminine's broken. And if she wasn't broken and she knew what she wanted, then you would know what to do. You would know where to go. You would have your divine orders and you would happily fulfill them for your love because that's your divine mission. Man. Well, looks like I'm getting some very good feedback. That's awesome. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you. Good to see you, Julie. Julie's here. Lux is here. Deb. Thank you, guys. Julie. Hey, friend. Did you move to San Diego? I feel like the last time I talked to you, you were thinking about it. No, we are not. We are creators. We're the talent. Oh, Logan said yes in 5 minutes. Okay, let me grab the link for him and I'll email it to. If you're still listening, Logan, I'm going to email the restream to your decode email. So if you want to jump on and say hi and weigh in on this one, that'll be a treat having Logan on here. All right, compose. Decode. Come on. All right. All right, I just sent it. If you want to join us. If not, that's cool too. It's up to you. Yeah. All right, so the question is, yeah, maybe if he shows up. I don't know, he might have had something else to do. We'll see. Virgo is awesome. Virgo is an amazing energy. We would not be alive if we were, if we didn't have Virgo energy. We wouldn't be able to create anything if we didn't have Venus energy. And the two together is just the creation of new players. Thanks, Black Butterfly. All right. Amazing energy. We would not be alive. What's up, Logan?
What's up?
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for putting this together. I was really,
Uh,
I was loving it. All of the contrast between what's standard and kind of what you've come up with.
yeah, I've been thinking about this for years, and I do actually do this presentation. It's like the fourth time I've done it, and it gets better every time. And since the last time I did it, I've put that chapter together, so to keep all my thoughts in alignment. And it's basically the astronomical order of the bodies, so it can break the Chaldean order. It doesn't have to be symmetric, like you saw in the very last slide. We've also got sort of just the energy of Virgo, like her mythology. Like, she's feminine. She's a birther. She's a creatrix. She's like everything that is magnificent about the divine feminine energy. And so Mercury is the guy between the living and the dead and the underworld. It just does never seem to fit. And then of course, you know, the medicalization of and the commoditization of divine feminine. It's all over the place. So anyway, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think the best way to summarize it is that they would co-rule Virgo because, I could throw out that in the Chinese, the sixth sign, that's Virgo, that's the snake in Chinese, that represents Mercury. When you look at the Last Supper painting by Da Vinci, you have the literally a V wedge in between Jesus and Mary in that painting. And that's when you go into Genesis 3, verses 14 and 15, that's talking about, the serpent bruising the head and the heel and the wedge and the enmity between the woman and the seeds. And that's between Leo and Virgo, which is the sun, and Virgo being, in that case, would be Mercury. So there's a lot of reference to Mercury there, right? You were saying how Libra kind of is more Mercury. I have Libra rising. And what I know about Libra, because I have a lot of feminine qualities about me, right? Libra is very, very feminine. It's very artsy. It's very cultural. It's if you have any Libra energy, you're going to be this music, and these are all like generating that kind of beauty and symmetry. And that's what I've always been about with that heavy Libra rising aspect. So there's that leans towards that. But what I liked about what you're throwing out there, the contrast, is that you easily can slide Venus into that position. So then I would just go to the Kabbalah tree as an example. And we know Venus and Mercury in the Sephiroth sit across from one another. And I think that's the two trees represent the left and right hemispheres of the brain. So you would have on the right side, you would have Venus because she runs emotions. And on the left side, you'd have logic, which would be Mercury and Prometheus aspect. So I just think that co-ruling them would be the better fit for Virgo if you're going to go that route. But I can see why you would say that Venus would completely rule Virgo. But then again, then you have, what are you going to do at Libra? Because I get your point with Mercury being there and stuff like that. But Virgo, man, as you know, if you have a lot of, like, I got friends that have like 4 or 5 planets in Virgo, and they are perfectionist extraordinaires. They're in their heads way too much, too many thoughts. They compress, they debilitate themselves. This is all thinking, right? And the compression of the thoughts, that leans a heavily more towards Mercury than it does Venus, But then you get the Virgo energy, which of course she gives birth to things. It's the sixth sign. It's tied to carbon 666. That leans more towards the serpent and Mercury. So it can go so many different ways when you kind of map it all out and lay it all down and start checking off the boxes. Okay, this would go there. This would go there. So I just think for me, and you're going to present this, I think that Mercury and Venus would be the co-rulers of Virgo rather than kind of putting it into just one complete sign. I think that would be the better fit. But I think you have a great case by saying that Venus is the sole ruler of Virgo, since it is heavy. It's tied to Jesus being born of a virgin women. It's not Mercury, but the serpent leads to the penis. That's what it is. So
Yeah.
tied to sex, you know what I mean? So, but then that's tied to Inanna, and Inanna through that layer is about finding her sexuality. If you go back to the ancient Sumerian story and Inanna, which is where the Adam and Eve story came from, it's tied to exploring sexuality. So it can lead to the serpent and the penis, and it can lead to the vagina. It just...
Well, Mercury and Venus together are the divine hermaphrodite, right? Hermes and Aphrodite.
There you go. So hermaphrodite. Yeah. So I think that fits that. And it would so well because Virgo's the largest constellation. It's across from Poseidon, the new ruler of Pisces, if you will. And what's Poseidon? Water. So birthing into water.
Yep.
Virgo, birthing into water. Poseidon, the water breaks. You do this all the time. Water breaks, the woman gives birth. That's the domain of Poseidon. Brahma in the Vedic, right? So the creator god. So it fits the narrative either way, I think. But I loved your presentation on what I got from it, because I wasn't here from the beginning. Don't shoot me. But I was watching some of it. I liked your presentation. I liked your information. And you bring a lot of great points to the table.
Well,
that can't be denied. I mean, you can't just say, nah.
I appreciate you saying that. Yeah. I mean, because a lot of people either they're just not willing to like think about it, or they're like, holy smoke, you've just fixed me. Like, and now I know why.
Yeah.
I know why it's so hard for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, if your position is the most accurate one, I mean, what's fascinating is your chart ruler is Venus. And if Mercury does rule Libra, then Mercury would be my chart ruler. And here we are going back and forth playing ping pong, tennis, trying to figure out who's going to be the traditional ruler of Virgo. I just chalk it up. It would be both.
Yeah. You have mercurial qualities, I would say.
Oh yeah.
The precision, tact, you're being able to be very balanced in your thoughts and in your discussions. Like it's not just one side, or like you deal with paradox, like mentally anyway. You're also a very mental person, so there's definitely some mental energy in Libra too, I would say.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, I mean, I got as you do. We have Hades and Uranus and Virgo. So that's the rebellious person in me, and then Pluto, the transformative one for people. And I was in health and wellness for the majority of my career. That's Virgo is health and wellness. That's why you're tied to the doctor aspect. I mean, that is Virgo, delivering babies. I mean, that's across from Poseidon. So
what I do is Mercury and Venus. It's like, doing the surgery to make the natural process happen.
Well, again, they sit across in the Kabbalah tree. They sit across from one another, and what's fascinating about the Kabbalah tree is that the sun and the moon and Venus and Mercury literally form the diamond. They form the rhombus in that chart, which we're in that domain. We're in the domain in the Kabbalah tree. We're in the domain of the sun, the moon, Venus, and Mercury feeding Malkuth, the earth. We're in those 5 Sephiroths. That's what we're in.
I'm going to pull up a tree of life real quick.
Yeah. It's fascinating because there's a diamond there, which is a kite. There's a kite in the Kabbalah tree. There's 3 kites actually.
Oh, here's the lower kites. One with planets.
Yeah.
Let me view it. Open. Oops. I think this is probably good. I can zoom in. No, I can't zoom in. That's okay. You guys should be able to see. Let me share.
Cool graphics you got, man, in the back.
Thanks. Yeah. That was a one-off. Sometimes when I talk to my chat and I'm like, will you make me an image for this? And then it'll just do something dumb, or it'll just be on fire that day. I don't know what the difference is. Is this correct? Is this the way you view it?
Yeah, you can flip them as well. You can put Mercury on the right. It depends on if you're like facing it with your back, or in this case, because Venus is the right-hand path, obviously. And then Mercury's the left-hand path, the taker. So Mercury, Mars, and Saturn represent the evil, the takers.
Okay.
And the right-hand path is what this has Uranus at the top, which may be right. But Jupiter traditionally across from Mars and sits above. So if you see the diamond to meet the sun, the moon, Mercury, and Venus, see the diamond in there?
Yeah, this guy.
That's the diamond. Lucy in the sky, that forms the diamond, the 2 tetrahedrons, the octahedron, and that feeds Malkuth down below. So we're literally in the domain of Venus and Mercury and the sun and moon. And that's why I think in Revelation, when Jesus is talking to the church, he says, you need to pick hot or cold. Because cold is the moonlight and hot is the sunlight, and Venus heralds the sun, and Mercury is Quicksilver, who has the crescent moon over its sign. So Mercury would obviously be Quicksilver, right? The moon silver. Mercury would represent the moon in the left-hand path, and then Venus would represent the sun and the right-hand path. That's why Jesus says, I'm the bright morning star. So that fits that narrative.
Right. But ultimately, they're all interconnected anyway.
They're all
Right?
interconnected. Yeah. And this is not even an up-to-date chart because there should be a Sephiroth in the middle. And you could easily put Pluto at the top instead of Poseidon.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the order of the Golden Dawn, I think. They have Neptune at the top, which could be, I mean, it's got the trident, the two trees on the right, and then the trident in the middle, the prong in the middle. So it can fit that. But I also think Pluto could be at the top and Poseidon be in where Da'at is, which is knowledge. Because the Sephiroth, that's like just dotted in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah, the void. Yeah.
Yeah, that one represents knowledge, which is 42, which is the fig tree. And what fits that better? I don't think Hades fits the fig tree that well, even though it can because it's Sheol, but also Poseidon because it represents imagination and fantasy. So literally going into a fantasy world, a different perspective. That's what happened when they ate the fruit. It says their eyes changed, their eyes opened, and they saw things differently.
Wow.
And Neptune, as you know, it can represent illusions. So Poseidon can easily squeeze down that position, and then Hades goes to the top. That would fit the narrative of the planets in order as well.
Interesting. Wow. So many different ways to think about it.
Too many different ways. That's why
yeah.
it's really challenging to figure all this stuff out.
Yeah, for sure. I have definitely adopted though Venus as a huge influence for Virgo. Definitely not in detriment. I think if you've got Virgo anxiety, it's probably because you don't understand Virgo the way you should. Because it's an incredibly useful, powerful, amazing sign. It's the biggest sign in our sky. It's the biggest sign.
And you go to Hebrew, man. When do they celebrate Rosh Hashanah, their new year? When the sun's in the head of Virgo. It's Virgo, man, and the moon has to be there. So Virgo is a big player, the biggest player in the constellations, man.
People are loving on your decodes.
Oh yeah,
the V decode. That was fire. That was really good.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that.
The reptilian decode.
Yeah. So just, I mean, this is just what's happening. See, you're coming out with your, your grandiose downloads are coming in.
Yeah.
And everybody else, so we're starting to move into that space of a massive amount of knowledge, like not just knowledge, clear knowledge,
connected knowledge.
Yeah, connected knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what did you do? You did the circuit board. And
that was the
you did that recently.
Transistor. Yeah, us being in the matrix and it's showing the motherboard. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, when I was driving this morning home from the lake, I was thinking very deeply about all of that. Like I do that when I drive. I have these deep thoughts about like, what is the nature of reality and does it really matter? And and it really is just like which way are we looking? How are we looking at it? What reflections are we looking at it through? And I just came to the conclusion like it can be whatever we want, really.
If fantasy world, man. So
yeah, it's what if we're literally like underground reptilians pretending to be human? Like, what if we're asleep down there, pretending to be human, and then like the true nature of ourselves is coming through our collective subconscious through movies, through writings, through downloads, through TV shows, through things like that, and we're stuck here. The only way we can get out is when we sleep and we dream, but we don't remember that as the characters that we are here. Yeah, I went into a lot of different places while I was driving this morning.
I like the places you went to. Those are very cool.
Yeah. But yeah, like what if that were true? What if this was just all just a game? And when we died, we just lost a life, and then we could come back and you get like a certain amount of lives. Like you just keep trying, you just keep going, right? Or you get frustrated with the game maybe and you'd move on, play a different game. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I mean, I found this brand new technique. I won't spend a lot of time on it. But instead of just taking the full word in numerology, you break it up into the syllables. This is something that I've been doing for a very long time. I just haven't really been very forward with it. I haven't really showed it a lot because it's kind of more advanced. But that's how these things roll off our tongues, is in the syllable aspect, like syllable, 3 syllables. Sure. And when you break down the numerology of it, the syllables, and then you tie that to a tarot card. What you're getting is you're getting the kind of the adjective, the description, the adjectives that move the word as the subject. So you get the full word in the tarot, and then you get the syllables breaking it down in the background. And it's been lights out, man. It's like doing the I am that I am,
Mhm.
you know, doing those words and breaking it down. It literally shows a storyboard of you. This is what I am that I am means, right? In the tarot,
Mhm.
the Lover's card, the Devil. I am in the syllables is the Lover's card and the Devil. And when you look at those two tarot cards, it's got a male and female on there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Let me tell you about that. That's amazing that you
yeah,
just
please
said
do.
that. That's just amazing that you just said that. Hold on.
Why is that?
Well, because I was literally, and let me bring the cards up so people can follow along with our geeking out here, because this is a very cool thing.
And this has a lot to do with Venus, because Venus is all about procreation and love and staying in the game and love of the game and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, that's why Ainano was, man, I mean, if you go back and you study the culture, you study the historicity, you'll see that like the Yodhe Vahe didn't even come on the scene till the Bronze Age.
There they are.
That's it. So before that, there's no Yodhe Vahe. Before the Bronze Age, there's no historicity of it.
These are the two cards you're referring to?
See the male and female. These are the only two cards, and of course the 15, the Devil card. If you do 1 + 5 = 6, it reduces down to the Lover's card. The Lover's card is I am with the Devil card. I am in Hebrew maps down to those two cards right there. I am. Yep.
It's so funny that they are almost the same like setup, right? You got a male and a female, and you got the angel or the thing with wings.
Yep. And if you convert that into the chemistry, it's the Lovers is carbon, 666, the
Mhm.
number of a man, and then 15 is
It's
phosphor,
also
which is light. You could easily play out Lucifer in there.
that's
Easy.
incredible. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
there's other cards with angels in them too.
We got Temperance.
Temperance. Yep, that was the other one I was thinking of. The Judgment has one. Judgment has
Judgment's got
one.
Yeah, that's tied to resurrection. Word resurrection maps down to the Judgment.
Temperance.
Yep. Exit the game of life is tied to Temperance.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Is there one more? Or is that all of them?
For angels,
Mm-hmm. Or demons or whatever.
well, I think even the 3 of Cups can be I don't think I have it handy. I have the 3 of Cups as this card right here. I have this card as I would redraw it.
Oh, yeah.
I would have 2 people with an angel.
Oh, okay.
Literally pairing up with a guide.
Yeah.
You know, it's pairing up with a guide, and that's 3 of Hearts.
But yeah, so look at this. So look, we got the Devil and the Lovers.
Yep.
And then we've got the Temperance and the Judgment.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And these people, with the exception of Temperance, they're all just sort of like dependent on this creature in a way, right? Like the Judgment, they're looking up at the wrong card. Judgment's looking up at the horn blower, and then these guys are being blessed by their oversoul, and then this guy is also sort of controlling them. But Temperance, it's just 2 cups.
Yeah, the biggest takeaway on that card is the foot just barely sticking in the water.
Yeah.
Of the Temperance, and that tells you, because Temperance just means balanced. So it's like you as a player in the game, non-player for me. The way to win the game of life, the way to exit the game of life is you gotta play to some degree. We're all playing, but you put your foot in the water just a little bit, just to kind of feel it out. Don't immerse yourself. Most people are just immersed in the water.
Right. Even the good stuff too, like the good and the bad. Like you just a little bit.
It's all attachment.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, if you want to get out of this reality, you can't be attached to it, and that's a tall order. And that's just a theory of mine. I can't even say I can't prove that, but I'm just saying, think about it, man. Every time you add something to your life, you become attached to it. I'm going to be moving soon, and thank God I'm a minimalist. But I'm looking around my place, and even as a minimalist, I'm like, oh God, I got some work to do here, man. So imagine I got a 5-bedroom house and I got to move. It's going to cost me a gazillion dollars. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's a lot.
And it's all stuff. It's stuff that, I've moved a couple times. I moved a lot actually in my life. I've probably moved about 24 times total.
Wow. Really? That much?
Mm-hmm,
Wow.
mm-hmm.
You are. Whew, got me.
I get rid of stuff every time I move. And this house is the longest I've ever been in one house. We've been in this house for like 12 years. But about halfway through, like 3 or 4 years in, no, it was 5 years in, we had to move out for 4 months and then move back in because they had to completely redo our foundation.
Oh.
So like every room in the house was moved out into pods in the driveway. And we stayed at a family member's house.
It cost you a pretty penny to put it all in pods too.
I don't even talk about it. I don't even talk about it.
Yeah, man. It's just like the cost of doing business, but I'm just saying it's like that's what life is.
They drilled 20 holes in my floor 6 feet deep throughout the entire house. Wow. So it was crazy. It was crazy.
How long did that take?
That took 4 months. And then it was when it was done, it really actually did feel more stable. It's the weirdest thing.
Wow.
Because we fixed the cracks but so for me to be staying put this long, and then as we're leaving, we buy another house up the road, so it's like I can't sit still because stuff accumulates around you. I'm even looking around the house we're in now, and I'm just like, God, there's so much stuff. I don't even know. I don't look at that. I haven't looked at that in years. What's the point?
Well, if you want to, that's, you could say it's Zeus, but that's Venus, man. She wants to have everything.
Yeah, I do like my things. I do like my things.
For sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, it's the narrative.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, man. The more stuff you have in life, harder it is to become unattached.
Yeah. So if you can move as much as you can. The one thing that's been constant though is my relationship to David, my husband. He's been through all the moves with me, just about.
Does he like it like you?
No. Every time we get to a new place, he's like,
That's it.
Done moving. Can we be done? I'm like, okay. A couple years later, hey, you wanna check this out? What?
Yep. Well, that's the thing, man. It's just all possessions that you rent, and then again, it's like it's so hard to be free in this reality because constantly you're being marketed to buy this, buy that, buy this, buy this. Oh, you should get this. Oh, this is the next best thing. Buy this supplement, buy this pen, buy this book. This is a better cell phone, buy this better computer. Constantly being bombarded to just consume. That's what They Live was all about. 1988. It was all about buy, consume, obey. Yeah. Because people just can't ever be satisfied with nothing.
Nope.
We can't be satisfied with nothing. Got to have something.
We can't be content in contentment either.
Yeah, contentment, man. It's just like I say, if there's a devil, boredom is its favorite tool. Boredom. People get bored.
For sure. So what else are you up to this Friday night?
Oh, I didn't even, is it Friday? Oh, shit. I didn't even know it was Friday, man. I don't, it goes by so fast now. I'm trying to relax, man. I go in and got a massage today. I haven't gotten a massage in years. And
good for you.
My neck's been bothering, so I just I'm just gonna get a massage. So I went and got a massage. It kind of relaxed me a little bit. And of course I come home. What do I want to do?
Get on the computer and
decode, which is messes up my neck, messes up my back from the seating position from the hands. It just is what it is. So
maybe you could dictate and do coding, like instead of just always doing the mouse and stuff. Maybe you could get away to
to be honest with you, I got to retire from this, man.
Really? I don't think people would like that very much.
I don't think so either, but I got to figure something out.
Yeah.
I've thrown it out there that I was going to retire from decoding, but I just say that and then I'm like, yeah, right.
You can't, not until you teach I don't know, at least a dozen more people to do what you do.
Yeah, I would hope people. Some people are you go into the decoding world of people that are just doing mainstream sports and all that, and you could start to see the influence of what we've been doing, which is great.
Nice.
Periodic table, the tarot, they're using those for their sports and stuff, which is cool to see. So it's getting out there. Yeah, it's getting out there.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, the next big thing for us is the Spotlight Live. When we move, we're gonna host an event in the city that we're moving to. So
Cool.
yeah, that's what we're gonna do. It's gonna be only 50 people, 54 people tops. It's gonna be very exclusive, and you'll be invited. And it's not gonna be far away for you to get there because it's very close from Texas.
Nope, we'll stay at the Houston house and we'll fly out to, where is it again? I keep forgetting.
Querétaro, which is like
Querétaro.
which is like central Mexico. It's an international airport. It's centrally located. It's easy to get to. So yeah, that's the thing. We're going to do a Spotlight weekend course. It's going to be fun.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay, guys. So you heard it here. There's something coming in central Mexico.
Something's coming, or at least there, and then the U.S. Because I want to start touring around, and people come to our city, come to my city. So
yeah, Houston will be your next stop.
Yeah, Texas is definitely on the radar. My nephew lives in Austin, so that'd be a good excuse.
Oh, nice. Yeah, and Jason's out here too.
Jason's there, so it'd be a good excuse to get there. It's a big state.
Yep.
I don't know how many, like, where are your viewers at mainly?
California. Most of them are in California.
Me too. I have a lot in Australia. I have a lot of people in Australia, but it's such a pain to get there. It's so
I've never been there. I would like to go there one day, but you're right, that flight. I mean,
and
I don't know that I could do that coach.
The prices can't do it, man. I wouldn't fly coach. It's $10,000 to fly to Australia on business class. So at least you can lie down and sleep. There's no way I could do coach for 20 hours. I just tell people in Australia, I mean, $10,000 if I'm going to getting paid to do an event, that's a different story. But to fly all across the world just to go have fun, I can do that. I can go back to the U.S. and go to different cities in the U.S. and do
exactly.
that.
Well, Jason's doing like a long distance lives with his international audiences, like his Ireland group. They'll get together and then he'll just pop on the live stream and talk to them live. Where else did he do that?
He's got almost 200,000 subscribers. He's got 4 times.
He's got a worldwide audience.
Yeah, man, he's crushing it. Good for him. You know, so he can do that with his. He has a lot more percentages with his community, which is good. Same with Jordan. Jordan from Waters Above. Big shout out to him. He's doing amazing things. He's got like 150,000. Those guys have blown way past me. They're doing big things for their communities, which is great to see. I'm a fan of that because they're influencing people to make. Same with you. Like you're just chugging along and building up your credentials, building up your clientele, and it's not going to be long before you get to, to a certain amount of people where you start to have more options in your life. So, and I know you want this changes. Change is going to be coming into your life. That's the question.
Yeah, Logan's one of the people that knows about what happened over the week. I didn't mean to tell you. I didn't mean to tell you. Like, I'm sorry about that, but
it's all good.
You were just on the phone. I was like, blah 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 blah.
Well, your community knows what's going on.
I didn't tell him what happened because I can't really discuss that on the larger airwaves. But you know that yes.
Yeah, it's all bueno, man. It's all
It's gonna be fine.
It's gonna be fine. It's all great. Yeah, it's all great. That's what I love about it. So yeah. So anyways, I appreciate you letting me come on and share my.
Appreciate you coming and sharing and your thoughts with us. I mean, I obviously value your opinion a lot because you do this kind of work and you help these people. And you, of course, you're a constellational real sky, true sky astrologer. So you know the what's the word I'm trying to say? The bigness of it, the consequences of it, that it's important to be precise in these things. And I think the rulerships play into that a little bit,
We just put out Predestination last night on the channel, on the YouTube, and we showed as evidence how tropical astrology as a 2-dimensional fails completely for that movie. So if Mel Gibson and all the producers are actually following a system, they are not following tropical astrology. Where's your buzzer?
Yeah, where is? I think
because it's coming out May 6, 2027. And where's the sun on May 6th? In Aries. And what is Aries? The resurrection, because it's called the resurrection of Christ. There you go.
Tropical. There it is.
Tropical puts May 6th in Taurus. That ain't
No.
Jesus.
Mm-mm.
That ain't the Christ. The sun is in Aries on May 6th. That is the resurrection of the Christ, the purification through fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we showed it again. Like I'm just going to keep doing it. People are still going to keep getting pissed off. That's cool.
I mean, their reaction is not the code's problem. I mean,
Yeah.
same
Everybody's
thing with the tropical astrologer. Like this system is the thing that has got us so like disconnected with what's really going on. I think if we want to really wake up to our true nature, we have to look at the real sky. At least that's my experience. So,
I mean, the easiest way to verify that what you and I follow is go out on a clear night
just look
in the
up.
next week or two, look up and find Zeus. And you know what constellation it'll be in, right? And then try to go verify that with tropical, and you'll see that it doesn't line up. It gives you a false layer of magic. So this is not like, oh, this is my opinion and this is the way I feel about it. No, the sky says this, and your two-dimensional astro.com or whatever is not in line with that. Why are you following that magic? I guess if you like to follow magic that's not accurate, I mean, that's totally cool.
Yeah, I call it magical malpractice. That's what I call it. Failure to use the real sky.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm a dick about it. I get it. I really am. But I like precision.
Yeah, me too.
Or do you?
I do too.
Yeah, precision, especially if you're going to be if someone's going to pay you to do a reading and you're giving them a layer of magic that's like, you're giving them trauma is what you're giving them, like an imbalanced frequency.
Yes, that's exactly that's my frustration. That's my problem with it. Like all of a sudden they don't like the Lion's Gate anymore because the sun's in the middle of Leo. And what the F does that mean? Well, hello, 8/8's amazing because it's when the sun goes into Leo.
At the gate where it properly where a gate is. The gate doesn't sit in the stomach of the Leo. That's what Trump says it does. It's so absurd. People can't, but you know what it is, Dani, as you know? Like I'll give you an example. My mother's a devout JW, 50 plus years. She's not going to give it up.
Mm-mm.
It ain't going to happen. So people that are devout in tropical, that have their whole life in it, they're not going to give it up because then
and it doesn't make them bad people either.
It doesn't. But that's the thing is their ego is like, what are people gonna? They're gonna make fun of me. They're gonna, they're gonna do this. They're gonna do that, all because I switched over to a different astrology system, and I've been teaching this one for 20 years. I mean, both you and I know people that have been teaching Trump for a long time. They're not going. More than likely, they're not going to give it up because they've got their life embedded into it.
And that's actually very strange when you know about it and you can explain it away. It's kind of like knowing that everything is coded and then trying to control it. It's kind of like that.
Well, again, you gotta be able to see that. There's still a lot of people that just won't accept what we present. And again, you don't have to, but I'm giving you the evidence, man. You're the jury. Whether you like it or not, when you go and watch a YouTube video and someone's presenting you information, you're the jury, man. And they're giving you information as discovery, what an attorney does. And when you give somebody enough discovery in a court of law, the jury makes the decision and gives the verdict. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to continue to give me the verdict that tropical astrology is accurate after we show you? After all these channels are now moving on to True Sky and they're showing you with the evidence, not just an opinion, that the True Sky is the most accurate, the only accurate astrology system to use. You're the jury, man. You're going to really say, oh, no. I mean, I would hate to be on a panel of jury with you. If someone's life's on the line and you're going to be a juror, I'd hate to be on the panel with you. If you're going to be that kind of mentality, you're going to hold on to it like that. Like the evidence is there for you, ladies and gentlemen. I know everybody here is on board with that. I would imagine the majority of people here, if not everybody.
Yeah.
But you're the jury.
I am just looking for people that are curious and are ready to look up and open their mind to something different. Like if you feel like what's been going on with you isn't working, Like, are you in loops? Are you stuck? Are you asking questions you don't have answers to? Like, just try the real sky. It might actually show you something. Really.
I just look at it, and that's a great point. I
Yeah.
just look at it
Yeah.
as under the guise of the magic of tropical astrology, you become a certain frequency when you adopt those truths.
True.
When you
Absolutely.
eliminate those truths from your life and you move into true sky with the real nature, you take on that frequency of magic.
Yep.
And that frequency of magic is organic. You and I could easily say tropical astrology, synthetic. It's not organic, it's synthetic.
Yeah, it's kind of like the AI of astrology,
It's a
right?
synthetic
Yeah.
form of astrology,
Yeah.
man. I mean, does it have accuracy? Sure, but it's synthetic.
It has accuracy from one perspective.
Huh?
It has accuracy, I think, from one perspective.
It's great at telling you what season you were born in.
Or just the conversations between the planets. Those are always that's why it still sounds so accurate, because if you've got, Mars square Neptune, you have that in both systems.
Yeah.
And you can say a lot to somebody about them when you know they've got Mars square Neptune. You can just give them that, and then they'll be like, okay, yeah, that's me. Yeah, you got me. Even though the signs that they've got them in are incorrect. That's sort of like the sneaky diabolical part of it. That's why people think it's accurate. It's because of those aspects. So
yeah, sometimes tropical and true sky merge together, because especially Virgo and Pisces, the big signs,
Yeah.
the sun's in there. Sometimes they'll be there together, but one's going to be 23 degrees forward, so it's still going to put it off in the codes, and the human design is going to be thrown off. Especially with Venus, man. Since this is about Venus, don't you want it? Like, I look at it like I said. If you're following tropical synthetic, that's totally fine. You adopt that truth, and you're like, "Yep, that's how my love signature is." But then when you move into true sky, you're like, "Really, that's the natural, organic way." You remove the synthetic, and now you're talking about a true love signature that you have to be moving through. How you want to be loved, how you're
and
loving.
I think that makes a difference. What sign is it in is the difference between what kind of Venus you're moving with. Absolutely.
Bingo.
You have Sagittarius Venus, right?
Well, I actually have a cusp. If you look at, I like Stellarium better than I do Mastering the Zodiac.
Okay.
I think Stellarium's my go-to, right? But I compare the both. My Venus is literally in between Sagittarius and Capricorn. You could give it to either one, so I'm a cusp.
Okay. Well, the Sagittarius Venuses, they love that. Oh, they love expansive things in their mind. Like if they can latch onto a new idea or a new thought, they just love that. And when their heart's lit up, it's big holy love, right? It's Jupiter ruled, so it's big holy love. Like they love you so much. It's so beautiful. The thing, David's a Sagittarius Venus.
Is he really? Does he have anything conjunct or just Venus and Sag?
Just Venus and Sag.
Okay.
And
awesome.
Yeah, so Venus,
his
11th house. It's 11th house. 11th house.
Okay, so I see Venus Sag as like, because I love sharing information. Like if I meet you, I'm probably going to say, "Oh, let's decode you." If I ever see you in public, I'm going to go right to, "Hey, I decode on the first date." Like not that type, but let's. I love sharing information. I love helping people. That's how I see Venus. Does David like that with Venus and Sag?
Well, I think to get to know a Sag Venus for as long as I have is a pretty rare thing, because in general they tend to leave a trail of broken hearts behind them. Because they love so much, and then when they love the next thing, they can't stay in something that's not working.
And where's his Zeus at?
First house in Aquarius. We're conjunct.
Then that just pulls him into being very. I mean, that's everybody love. That's like love the entire world.
So listen. No, either they leave behind a trail of broken hearts, or they're celibate.
Okay.
Well, you're a Sagittarius Venus too, which it tracks for you. So like that makes sense. Yep. Or they find somebody that blows their mind daily. So I think with David, I blow his mind daily. I think that I am so fascinating for his mind.
Well, you're giving him information. That's the way he wants to be loved. Yes. I see Venus and Sag. So you want information. You want your lover to help you, make you a better person. The ninth house, the higher mind. So you're very, very intelligent. You're a doctor. I mean, come on, man. On the materialistic plane, you're
Well,
like,
he met me when I was a waitress and I was a theater major.
yeah, but you were destined to be a doctor. It was
Yeah.
already in the cards.
Yeah.
So I get it. But he saw something in you, and I would imagine he loves when you share knowledge. Loves
Yep.
it.
And you know, having a Gemini Venus, it's nice because he's very talkative, 11th house, you know. So when he was telling me stories or sharing his ideas, I'm just like, I love you. You know? Yeah.
That's awesome.
So yeah, Venus is so important for how you interact with your partner for sure. But I think Mercury is just as important too for the partnership, like the negotiate, the give and take, you know, the communication between you and your partner, what you're willing to compromise, the actual freaking contract of marriage itself, you know, that is Mercury too. So
And David's got his Mercury where?
Mercury, where's Mercury? It's Capricorn.
He's got a
12th
Mercury in
house.
Capricorn.
Yeah.
That's where I got mine.
You're-
Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting. He's got the same Venus and Mercury.
His 7th house is lit up though with Moon and
He's a romance.
Uranus and Pluto
Oh,
in
unconventional.
Leo. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And wait a minute, Moon, Uranus, and Hades all in the 7th house
In Leo. Yeah.
in Leo. Oh, so he's a big romancer then. He's a big romancer. He can be, or he is. Okay.
He's he knows how to talk to the ladies. The ladies like him, that's for sure.
When I got to talk to him a few times, he seems very, very likable.
Oh yeah. I think actually if you guys ever get to talking, I will feel very unloved because
Oh, well, you think we're gonna have romance?
yes, I do. About religion, about everything. Yeah. And I'll be like, okay, I'll be over here. You guys have fun.
No, you wouldn't. I don't think that would happen.
Yeah.
I know. We got to get a round table going, man. It would be. I don't really do stuff in person, but it'd be cool to do another. I don't know, do another event in the U.S. somewhere. Wait, when's Jason doing his next live event, or is he?
I want to say he's going to San Diego sometime in September.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's doing an event in San Diego again.
I think so. Yep. September.
I wonder if
Feels like a month away.
That's where I did. That's where I did his first show for me.
Yeah.
In San Diego. I wonder if he's doing it at the same theater that he did last time.
Not sure. I can't make it out to San Diego. I asked him to do it in Houston this year too, but he said I've been there a bunch. So okay, well. That's where everybody is.
A lot of people are in Houston.
Yeah. There's a whole Texas Errants chapter. I don't know everybody, but
I
know quite a few. Yeah.
He's got his Phoenix followers, man, for sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Teresa says San Diego. Yeah. Lori says her husband is a Sagicorn also.
Oh, Sagicorn.
Sagicorn.
I like that. All right.
Cool.
Well,
you want to just pull a card or two?
Yeah, let's do it.
Quick.
Let's both do it. You
Let's
pull one, I'll
one.
pull one. You pull one, I pull one.
All right.
We did that last time.
I didn't wait for the count though the last time.
That's all right.
All right, because Claire Louise asked us to go ahead and pull a couple cards.
Well, we should talk about Venus since this is a Venus topic.
Okay.
So maybe love signatures or what's important for love with all of you collectively.
Yeah, well, we could just do what's Venus's message to all of you.
There you go. It's your show, so
Yeah.
I'll just I'll be subordinate. You just.
All right, we'll do the Venus message. I'm just going to lay mine down and cut them, and whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Go ahead. Oh, you want to do them simultaneously?
Yeah, why not?
All right, cool.
Venus's message.
1, 2, 3.
There we go.
Well,
So
either
yeah.
one, but I pulled it out reversed. So
Okay, so the 5 and the 6 of swords.
5 and 6 of swords. Yeah, yours is moving over to calmer waters. The 5 of swords is kind of walking away and letting go. When you have it in reverse, it's to repair, walking away and letting go. That's just how
Look what was under it.
Shit. Well, actually, what's fascinating is the tarot reduction mapping. When you say 6 of swords, it leads to the devil card.
Interesting.
Yeah, it leads to the devil card.
But 6 is Virgo, yeah.
Yep, it can fit in Virgo. All the tarot cards is how I fit them. Because a lot of people say, "Oh, that's an air," because they just automatically say swords are Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, but that sits in the house of Virgo because it's a 6. That's how I map them out. the universe likes it mapped out like that. A 6 goes with a 6, Virgo 6, it would be the snake,
Yeah.
water, all that stuff. So this would be Leo. That's really bright. I can't even get it. But yeah. So one is, and when it comes to romance, some of you may need to walk. What's funny is the dichotomy between you and I,
Right.
right? Yours is like moving over to calmer waters. Maybe some of you have to actually walk away from a relationship. And then the 5 of Swords is actually mending the relationship. Stop being so, like, this is the card of the narcissist. It can be the card of the narcissist. I think we all have narcissism inside of
I
us.
think we do too. Yeah.
Absolutely. Except for you. I know the people say, no, I don't have that. Okay. You don't have it. Everybody else does. But anyway, the 5 of Swords is like, mending the relationship. So it's fascinating that, your chart rule is Venus, mine's Mercury, and literally yours is moving back and mine's, yours is moving to calmer waters, which could be leaving the relationship. And then this one is mending the relationships.
Interesting.
Kind of
So
fascinating.
interesting.
Right? Yeah.
Well, and 5, there's a big 5 coming up next weekend, right?
Uh-huh.
The critical question 5.
Question 5, man, on the 16th, August 16th. We got 9 days to go.
Yeah, and we have a very exciting guest. The first of the guests is going to be a young person.
Yes.
So that's really exciting. And I
And
think that got kind of both of us like in this really cool, like Leo 5th house, sun, children kind of mood. And like, how do we get this information into younger minds so that they can use it and integrate it? And God, who knows what they could come up with? Be amazing.
I wish I had this stuff when I was younger, but it wasn't in the cards for me. Pun intended.
Well, we are bridges between the two ages, our age group anyway, our litter of children. Hold the analog to the digital. We're sort of the strong backs in between those two worlds.
Yep.
So.
Yep, for sure. All right.
Well, Logan, thank you so much for dropping in and saying hello and giving us your thoughts. You've certainly enhanced the whole discussion. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you letting me blab. So, I like to talk. Mercury.
Yeah, Mercury might be your chart ruler.
Blab. It might be. Yeah, it might be. In the card system, it's Kronos, but because I got my Saturn in Kronos. But whatever. I think that just, my take on it. I think we're all the signs, all the celestials.
We're all of it. And the whole goal, guys, is to rise above it all.
Yeah.
Right? To ascend it.
Yeah. To say I don't need it anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
So who's your chart ruler? Who cares? Right?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah. That's the correct answer, ladies and gentlemen. If someone says, hey, what's your sign? The correct answer should be all of them. I'm all of the signs. That way you don't leave anybody out, man. You respect all the signs because they're all using you anyway. That's my truth. But that would be the correct answer.
There you go.
True sky astrologer, and I'm all the signs. What do you mean you're all the signs? All 13. What do you mean 13? There's 12. No, there's 13. What do you mean? Look up, man. Go look at the constellation.
Well, let me show you. Yeah.
51 over Yuki, the leg going over the ecliptic. Undeniable.
Yep. Love it. Well, I love all of you. I love you, Logan. I love you guys in the chat. Appreciate you all for being here. I've got a nice little outro that talks about they're just happy memes. So like you can just like leave cheerful and happy. There's even one about a unicorn in your kitchen. So I'll go ahead and we'll say goodbye, and I will see you on the critical question next weekend.
Yeah. I'll talk to you between now and then.
Of course.
Critical question 16th, baby.
All right. We'll see you guys then. Thanks so much for coming, everybody. Take care.
Much love.
Bye.